Fifth dimension infinity. The infinity part is everything that is possible in one given moment. Fifth dimension, though, is the dimension that is just beyond time. So you've got height, width, depth, time, and then fifth dimension is where time could, if you could imagine it in a line, you've got a timeline, and if at any point a different route could have been taken, this is the fifth dimension, the dimension where all of these potentials exist at once. And so there are 5 installations, and every 8 days one goes up, and every 3 days you can find your piece of wood and burn it, and that happens 12 times over the course of a 33-day installation. Every day a torch is added and the piece physically grows, and it aims you towards the next piece. Act is the night of the second procession. It's the first installation, aside from poles being driven into the ground. And Act is one of 3 stages of this Active-Contemplation model that we're putting out with these installations. So in Act, there are 2 hemispheres filled with water and a large chunk of wood hanging from the tree that someone can come up and swing, and creating a gong effect. So we move to the second stage, which we skipped opening a procession on that night for the sake of it being listen. So this is the wind chime garden. There are 8 wind chimes, large wind chimes, throughout this whole space in front of Hughes Auditorium in an area where there are nothing but large trees. Reflect is about looking past the veil that reminds us that we're connected to all of this. So we look down, and instead of seeing the ground like usual, we see ourselves in this framed image of the sky, inside the veil, past the veil.
Probably the most intriguing and striking part of the entire show for me has been just the openness of it, and not just Logan's adaptability, but the fact that he's let this show in and of itself kind of take on a life of its own. By bringing in others, by bringing in other minds, he's refined, but then he's also expanded.
I met Logan this semester. I didn't know him before this semester, so like the first impression I had of him was this project. The past year or whatever, I've really begun to like look at my own life, because we're habitual creatures, and I think that's what he's trying to get at in the project, is this whole idea that we are creatures of habit, and we do have rituals, but through that, I guess the project is trying to get us to contemplate that or question it or challenge it. Not necessarily that it's a bad thing, but to see it, because we don't see a lot of things that we do, even the way we take a shower the same way every time, or just the way we live our life, and that it's all ritual, it's all habitual.
His show really has a metaphor for life, in the fact that just how he wants people to react in whatever way they do, just like with life, they react however they want to, and some participate and some don't, and some laugh at it and some really engage in it.
This show is a reminder that how we carry ourselves, where we carry ourselves, how we conduct ourselves, with whom we choose to conduct, all of this is going to have consequences.
His whole purpose in this is to evoke thinking and to evoke thought and to hopefully pull out some kind of inner conscience in people to be more aware of what's going on in every moment of every day, and to not just be so absorbed in the ritual to not notice the ritual that you're in.
Sometimes it doesn't click with people, but other times they get it, and that's when they start to like see the project for what it is when they're in it, you know. When you burn a piece of wood, you kind of become part of the project, and you can't help but at least understand it a little more.
I mean, his circumstances, he's setting up for us, and I think a very inviting place to participate in, just like a building very much can invite us, but so can a processional, to put our minds in a different type of trajectory, whether that be a sacred one, or in his case, I think more of a simply just contemplative and reflective one.
We all have limitations, but yet we have infinite choices. So it's a transformation, it's a progression. It's something that we need to be aware of. It is active contemplation. And so this project is not necessarily a series of installations that you go and you look at, and it's not necessarily just for the sake of interactivity with the piece, but it's more about interactivity with the self.
Too sore for sight. We are sown through the latchet grease.